But here at the NAACP, we like to say we fight until we win. And so this issue on immigration rights for citizens who are here within the boundaries of this country will not go away, and therefore the fight should not go away until all are guaranteed the rights guaranteed to us by our Constitution. So with that being said, here with us today from the Alliance of Immigrants Rights is Ms. Cindy Garcia, an Immigrants Rights Activist, and Mr. Sergio Martinez, as he stated, a dreamer and an Immigrants Rights Activist as well. So Cindy and Sergio, I'm not sure who wants to come first, but please feel free and welcome both Cindy and Sergio.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
We'd like to thank the NAACP for having us this morning. Let me tell you a little bit more about the organization. There's over 100 churches involved. We have a lot of unions involved, which is the UAW, the AFL-CIO, and SEIU. We have community organizations that are also involved, which is Access, LaSed, American Arab Chamber of Commerce, Planned Parenthood Affiliates of Michigan, LACLA, which is Latin Council for Latin American Advancement, Hispanic and Latino Commissions of Michigan, Sturgis Chamber of Commerce. We also have on board State Rep Harvey Santana, Congressman John Conyers, Gary Peters. We have Senator Debbie Stabenoff also that we met last week with. We have State Senator Coleman Young Jr. on board. We have U of M and University of Detroit Mercy. But we're always looking for more partners like yourselves to join in and help with this fight. We always have meetings to motivate people, to educate people of the circumstances that our community is facing. There is more fights like Right to Work in 2014, so we want to resolve the immigration issue this year. We also do sit-ins, phone banking, marches, and voters registration that we were involved. Now I will tell you a little bit about my story and how I got involved. Like I said, I'm a UAW Local 600 member and belong to UAW Region 1A. Also, I am a member of the Southwest NAACP. My family barely avoided being separated from my husband. My husband came to the United States at the age of 10 and never left. He speaks English fluently. He attended elementary, middle school, and high school and graduated in Chicago. He then came to Michigan and searched for work. He came to Michigan for work. We got married in 2002 and started paperwork to adjust his status in 2004. We have 2 American children and 1 stepson. My kids and I have asthma. Unfortunately, our first lawyer mishandled our case and caused our case to go to cancellation of removal. We had a master hearing, and the judge ordered my husband to be deported. We lost our house to foreclosure and a short sale due to the incompetence of our lawyer. We gave our lawyer over $50,000. We then looked for another lawyer. The judge, she tried to help in our case, but it was too late. The judge ultimately denied the application of Board of Immigration Appeals and said that was it. The new attorney recommended that we take voluntary departure and do consular processing. I don't know of anyone or have met anyone whose husband has returned after leaving for consular processing. My husband is an upstanding citizen of the community and has no criminal record. We help with cleanups and peace marches in Southwest Detroit. He even helps with the feeding of the homeless every Sunday. He has been a taxpayer ever since he graduated from high school. He even filed for an ITIN number and has received Social Security card in 2005. His parents brought him here to have a better life. He did not know he was illegal until he tried to find a job. He's trying to live the American dream. My husband clearly qualifies for an exercise of prosecutorial discretion pursuant to the Morton Memo. Jorge is also eligible for the recently implemented Deferred Action for Child Arrivals DACA program in every way but one, his age. The whole ordeal is and was a nightmare for us. Not knowing if ICE was going to grant another stay of deportation, my kids would cry when someone would knock at the door. My kids have suffered enough, from me being laid off from Ford's, their dad being ordered not to work, being moved from their home that they grew up in, their dad being ordered to leave the country, and me suffering from a neurological pain, and all three of us from chronic asthma. My kids are currently going to see a psychiatrist for the emotional stress that it has on them. They have anxiety separation. Due to all the stress, I would stay up all night. I would constantly sit and cry all day. I am and was terrified of the risk of indeterminate separation of possibly years if Jorge was to go to Mexico and apply for his visa. I felt that the system had failed me as an American citizen. It is unfair to me and my family and other families in the same situation. I then turned to my union, and through our CAP program, I got help from Congressman John Conyers in 2011, and my husband was granted a stay of deportation for 1 year. Again last year, I contacted Congressman John Conyers, Gary Peters, and Hanson Clark for help. We were grateful that they helped us in our situation. Because of their help, my husband is still here. I am lucky to have the resources that I do. I am here telling my story to bring awareness to the broken system. We need a change in the policy that supports reunification for law-abiding citizen members that have been hurt by deportation. But unfortunately, the 11 million others do not have the same resources as I do. So I'm asking you, are you willing to help us with the urgency to help pass a fair immigration policy that includes reuniting families? Now I'd like to introduce Sergio.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having us here. Before I start telling you a little bit about myself, I want to just say how this is a personal goal met today, because the whole time that I've been a volunteer with AIR, and we've reached out to communities other than Latino people, it's an issue that affects so many different cultures and so many different ethnicities. And it's not just a Latino issue. When people think illegal immigrants, they automatically, something sparks in their head and says Mexicans, or, you know, something like that. So it's, I'm really happy to be here because it does affect the Haitian community and so many others. I'd like to start off by, we basically know who AIR is and what we do. So I'm going to go into a little bit about myself. I was brought to this country when I was 5 years old, along with my 6-month-old brother. We grew up American. We went to the school, we pledged to the allegiance. We didn't feel any different until we were at the point where we were graduating from high school. My whole life I saw my parents work really hard. They went from a factory job to my dad saving and working very hard and being able to become a truck driver, which made our family progress and persevere, which is what coming to America was all about. He was able to purchase homes. He was able to get a job that gave his family health insurance and provided us the lifestyle that if you work hard and follow all the rules, you should be able to have. But in 2005, the self-deportation laws starting to get stricter. In 2005, the Real ID Act passed, which made everyone have to have a social security number in order to obtain or renew a license. So because he was a truck driver, he was laid off his work. We lost everything. He had to file for bankruptcy. He had to go on foreclosure in his homes. We were just, it was literally from like 1 year of being, you know, all American, living the dream, to losing it all, and just the psychological effect that it had on my little brother, because he didn't understand, and I didn't understand either, but he was 6 months old when he came here, so he doesn't know anywhere else. I have learned from my father to become a successful person, to no matter what you do in life, to do it well, which I think is something that all parents tell their children. I have been a manager for different corporations. I moved to New Orleans and managed a restaurant there. So I try to keep up with my competitive peers, even though I've been in the shadows and haven't been able to fully do so. I haven't been able to continue my education. I haven't been able to do a lot of things that I see that my peers do. If I sit before you representing hundreds of thousands of people who don't have a voice, who are terrified because of this broken system, who just are treated as second-class citizens for no reason except for a law that may have been broken. I've seen and witnessed firsthand how a broken system tears families apart. My parents divorced and my mom moved back to Mexico. I haven't seen her in about 4 years, going on 5, because we have no status. I do have status now because I applied for the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, which is DACA. So I have status, but I still am unable to leave the country. I'm still stuck in a legal limbo, which is just, I'm okay for 2 years, but then in 2 years, it starts all over. I know so many of my peers who are also undocumented, who have engineering degrees, and you are able to go to university, but you have to pay out-of-school tuition or out-of-state tuition, and unfortunately, not a lot of people can afford that. They can barely afford going to college, so that's a very difficult issue to live with. For people to tell their stories and share and educate them and say, this is why you have to share your stories, because if you live in the shadows, no one will ever know what you're going through. No one will ever change their opinion because they think of it as just a policy and not as a humane issue. March 23rd, it's a convention at UAW Local 600. And we are organizing and working nationally with our partners to have a national march in Washington, D.C., in which we will try to raise funds and get buses sponsored to take, each bus seats 50 people, and so we can take them to Washington, D.C. in March, and this is a national thing, so we're expecting hopefully hundreds of thousands of people, so we can let everyone know that we're here, and we're not. You can't get rid of 11 million people in deporting. I mean, I think we have a better way to spend those resources and make us productive members of society.
Let's thank both Sergio and Sergio.